Welcome to part two of our session about the missing Indigenous people, plus many other things surrounding that topic. We have our medium, Ginger Bailey, who's awesome, as you probably saw in part one.
You.
Fascinating stuff, aliens, that kind of stuff. And her information is in the description box below. You will see that she is a life coach, a medium, does other things too. And also, we have my son Eric on the other side. Hi, sweetie.
Hi, Mom. Love you.
All right, we will
Yeah,
continue
you're
with
so
the
cute.
questions. That
He's a cutie.
somebody gave us all these questions, just amazing. All right,
Yeah,
next
he
question for part two. What can we do right now to spiritually protect indigenous women and girls?
um they are working on it. They are doing it. A lot more, there has been volunteers, so not to push away like the volunteering, okay? But the more volunteers that they get and the more that they can pull together resources,
Yeah,
the more of more positive outcomes they're going to
of
have with
course.
this. It's just so hard when in a guinea showing like hands tied,
Yeah,
with the law and law enforcement and how they can only do so much and so much can be handled in different jurisdictions, which
right.
I think, me, Ginger, I think it's like, well, then volunteer your time.
Yeah,
That's not against the law, is
it's
it? Again, I
important.
don't know the law, but I'm
Yeah,
assuming that if you're volunteering,
I'm sure it's
but
okay. How
but
can
that's, what they need to do.
okay, how can communities begin to heal from this ongoing trauma? I think part of it is getting the resources and doing a better
It
job, of
is.
course.
It is.
Anything
Absolutely.
else?
So something that Eric is talking about right now is when you have suffering, things that make you suffer, and have pain in your life, situations that cause this. It's really the way that you look at it, the perspective you have on it, and
Yeah,
what it is for you, and seeing the bigger picture
yeah.
of it.
Thirty
Most of the time,
thousand, 30,000 foot per perspective. Exactly.
right, right. There's always a contract, or something behind it that is for some kind of human evolution, because everything that we go through here is for experience and to evolve. He says when you allow and not resist certain things that you're feeling
Yeah.
or that you're dealing with and understand them, find understanding behind them, that
Mm.
helps, he says.
All right. What
So
about smudging, prayer, ceremony? Are these things that can actually help shield anybody who's vulnerable to this sort of activity?
he- he's saying it can help, but when there is a contract for
Yeah.
something to
There's
happen,
nothing you can do.
you can't really stop it. But it can help the suffering. It can help
Yeah.
what everybody's going through, including the person that it's happening to,
Yeah.
you know.
Is it helpful to create sacred sites or altars for the missing? Would that help in any way? And if so, how?
That is not for the missing. Eric's showing that is for those still here. Anytime you
Oh,
have,
okay.
a sacred site or prayer places of prayer or he's just showing, he shows like these trees with prayers hanging from him or something.
Oh,
This is
interesting.
pretty neat looking. It's really pretty.
Beautiful.
I Yeah, and he's showing like different like areas of the ground that's blessed and things like that. He says that
Okay.
is mostly for those who are
Here's
still here.
still here. It's like
Mhm,
your burial site, Eric. It's you don't care about it. It's
mhm,
for
yeah,
us to honor you and it needs to be clean. Sorry about that.
yeah.
Okay, how can non-Indigenous allies best support this movement? I'm sure volunteering is a big part
Right.
that they can do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Volunteering, mostly volunteering, but also, teaching your children, teaching down, he's showing like generations,
Okay,
being taught to care about everybody as an equal. We
okay.
may have different cultures, but we're all people, we're all humans, just
Well,
having having a human experience, or actually all souls,
Yeah, of
having a
course.
human experience, and we're all equal, and that's important,
Yeah.
very important to teach that.
What messages do ancestors of the native nations have for today's youth who are growing up angry, scared, or disconnected?
Sometimes it can be a motivator, fear and anger
Oh,
can be a
well, that's
motivator,
true.
is what I'm hearing. But it's more of a motivation to want to accomplish something without that, is what I'm
Yeah.
hearing Erik say.
Mm,
You'll get further, he's saying. Like that can be the motivator, but that's not always going to get you there. So try to put that fear and anger aside.
yeah.
Again, it's seeing the understanding behind it, the
Yes.
spiritual meaning behind things. And everybody does have the ability, he says, because there's some people that are going to go, well, I'm not a medium, I'm not a psychic, how am I going to see that? But
Yeah,
if you really listen to that inner voice, you will get the answers.
exactly.
Your heart tells you, your inner soul tells you. So that can
Eric,
help.
do you think there's a spiritual awakening happening among Indigenous people because of the movement? This movement, I guess, of Germain's? That was in part one, people.
He says yes. He says yes.
Well, that's good.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anytime you have any, not even just with the Native Americans, but with anybody that goes through, um, not just on their own culture, their people, but just, like as a whole, but also as an individual suffering.
Yeah.
That's going to cause you to turn into, an awakening, usually, especially now because of the way the planet is,
Oh,
the
yes.
vibration on the planet is.
The
So it's
ascension.
more so now, yep,
Okay.
than it has been in the past.
How can we empower Native women spiritually and energetically to protect themselves so it doesn't happen to them? Of course, if it's a spiritual contract, they really can't, but go ahead
Right,
and tell me
right.
otherwise. Yeah.
You know, there are some things that happen. Okay, when we say, like, if you say, okay, I want to come in and I want to experience addiction, and those around me are going to experience what it's like to love somebody with an addiction.
Yeah.
And he's using this for an example because it's a big one. It's a big one that people deal with.
Right.
Um, then you're going to have those things happen.
Yeah.
But when it comes to changing that, or protecting from that, again, you can't do that if it's meant to be. But free will, okay, the more you try to stay on the best path you can, as in for yourself, for your
Yeah.
own passion. He's talking about passion, like your own passion. The
Okay.
more you stay focused on that, the stronger you will be against those other things that can take you
Okay.
down that path.
Mm,
And if it's meant to be,
it's
it's
meant
going
to
to
be.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there tribes or individuals being called to rise as protectors, warriors, or medicine people to fight this?
Are there what? Are there
In tribes or individuals being called to rise as protectors, warriors, medicine people?
There is. Erik said
Okay.
yes, there is.
All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They have all types of those who are volunteering their time, whether it's like in silence. He's showing me like people in silence, and those that are non-silent, to
Okay.
speak out.
Okay. What role do you see the ancestors and spirits of Native peoples playing in protecting future generations?
Something he's showing me is getting back to their roots, to
Okay.
their culture, things that were taken from them in the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah.
They have it's like are not as their rights are more protected, is what I'm hearing now, than
Okay.
they were in the beginning. So
Good to
they're
go.
trying to teach each generation to cope and deal,
Yeah.
because there was a lot of, and again, we talked about this in the first one, the mental illnesses and the non-coping skills,
Yeah.
the things that were passed down from all the things that happened to them in the beginning,
Yeah.
when the colonization came.
Yeah.
So they're getting back. He's showing like a turnaround. There's a big
I hope
turnaround
so.
happening
Go
where they're,
back to their roots, their beautiful culture,
yes,
magical
yes.
culture, their
So they're
sacred
teaching.
culture.
Yep. So they're
Yeah.
teaching them things like he's showing me like making canoes and
Okay.
they're something he's showing like the land, planting the land, but it's not like farming like we do. It's
It's the
different.
old ways,
Yes.
which are
Yeah.
probably better. Do
Yes.
spirits of the missing and murdered find peace in the afterlife, or are they seeking justice or acknowledgement from the living?
That's non-existent.
Okay,
When a
yeah.
soul is seeking justice
Yeah.
or acknowledgement.
They see it from
Um,
the higher perspective.
Right. They see the full picture. They see the reason for everything
Yeah.
behind it, which, a lot of people now that are coming on their spiritual journeys and awakening are starting to see too
Yeah.
before, passing. They're seeing it while they're still here,
Right.
which is great, that really helps.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So no, no to that. They
Okay.
don't feel that way. They're
Are
they're
there
at peace. They're at peace.
good? That's what we want for them. Are there patterns of energy or cycles that continue to affect Native communities? Patterns of energy, cycles.
That affect them, you're saying?
Yeah, that
Affect.
affect the communities.
So that would be the patterns we talked about in the beginning when the families were being separated and the children were being taken and they were
Oh
being
yeah,
forced
yeah.
to go to, boarding schools and
Oh
taught Eric
God.
showing like all the things that they were forced to do
Yeah.
that, so sad. It kind of makes me a little nauseous. Even
Me
though I
too.
can see the reasoning behind it, it still doesn't take away that like you still suffer that human suffering they went through. Okay, so this energy it did roll through the
Yeah.
generations. Absolutely.
Does it
But
continue?
it's getting better. Yeah, yeah. It's continuing the energy continues to roll, but it's a change. There's a shift
Okay.
now. They're
It's
shifting
less
back. Yeah, it's
shifting
less. They're
back to the their
to
roots,
the
basically.
culture. Yeah, to the roots.
Okay.
Yes,
What
it's helping.
spiritual practices or ceremonies honor your soul and protect others? I guess those are just for us, the living,
It is. It is.
basically.
It is. Of course, our loved ones are always happy on the other side. I mean, they're always happy, but you know what I mean? Like they love to see us,
Yeah.
flourish and grow. So that's something, there's something there for them, but it's not needed, not
Okay.
necessary for a spirit.
Okay. Now we have one last question, but it has 10 mini parts, so they're probably
Oh
quick answers.
goodness. Okay.
Yeah. What is the spiritual destiny of Indigenous people in this generation? Will justice be restored? The first question in this subsection are some of the missing Indigenous souls choosing to reincarnate quickly into their tribes to continue their purpose? So the reincarnation
I
quickly?
heard yes. I heard yes to that. To some. Yes.
Okay. Is there a soul contract between Indigenous women and the earth that makes them spiritual protectors? And does that contract put them at risk?
Yes, there's a contract for that, but it doesn't really put them at risk. This is an
Okay.
individual, and it's individualized.
Okay. Will justice be restored ever? Probably not in my lifetime, but
Justice for those gone or
no, just
justice
the
to help?
indigenous people in general. I would like to know that answer.
I'm hearing yes. It's justice in a way of the change that's
Okay.
happening, letting them be, giving them peaceful lives,
Okay.
not taking over or trying to
I
control.
know, not trying to westernize them,
Right,
Are
right.
some of the missing being taken across dimensional realms rather than just human trafficking or violence? Um, is this happening in any cases? I think we discussed that, but
Yes,
yes.
yes,
And that's
yes,
mostly in part
absolutely.
one, I believe. You guys might want to
Hmm.
go back and look at that.
Yeah.
Can ancestral curses, land-based trauma, or generational grief attract danger to certain bloodlines or regions? Ooh, or people for that matter?
What was it? Trauma? What cause that?
And this is a long one.
Oh,
Ancestral curses,
oh,
land-based
oh.
trauma, or generational grief attract danger.
There's a little bit of a yes on that because any kind of energy put out that's negative can bring negative back.
That's true.
So
Negative
little,
entities and things
yeah,
like
but
that.
but
Yeah.
there's not a curse per se. So we can take the
Okay.
curse word out of it, but we can say the energetic energy that like energetic he's showing like energetic repeats. in a way.
Okay.
Like,
The
yeah,
energy
like,
of trauma, probably, right?
yes, yes, yeah.
Trauma and
Yes,
grief,
absolutely.
which is
Trauma
trauma.
and grief
Right.
can bring it back in even more so sometimes. But
Okay.
this is a balance again. We're talking balance. It's always about balance.
Absolutely. Do tribal spirits or guardians ever intervene to try to stop these disappearances?
Yeah, Eric says, unfortunately, nobody can intervene in a contract or
Yeah.
someone's journey because that would be like, you
Yeah, you just
talking
can't.
for somebody all the time. They've never learned to talk. So they have
That's a good
to,
analogy. Yeah.
yeah, they have to learn on their own. So it
Okay.
can't be intervened with.
What about those that are doing what they do and putting themselves at risk because of free will? Have they ever tried to stop intervene with that when
Not,
those contract
not,
is involved?
you know what? Not loved ones so much, but I see like angelic or alien type
Oh, okay.
intervening a little bit. Yes.
Okay. How can indigenous medicine people, shamans, or seers help locate the missing? Can they? Is it possible through spiritual vision or ceremony? Can they locate them?
There is, absolutely there is.
Hmm.
It's like remote viewing in a way,
Mm.
Eric says, like a remote viewing. If it's meant to be found, is what I heard. If
Oh,
it's meant to be found,
what about
yes.
the actual spirits? Do they ever help guide those who are searching and, and
Yeah,
family?
yes, they do. They do. Not all of them, but there
Yeah.
are some that do if it's part of it, part of the plan.
Yeah. Okay. Is that often successful or not?
It is. It is
Okay.
successful. Not often, but it is. There has been successes where they've
Okay.
found people from that.
Do the missing still walk the land energetically?
They're mostly connected to their loved ones more
I can
so.
imagine, yeah.
There is maybe like I'm not going to say nobody. Eric goes not. There is a few that are they don't just walk lost through the land, but there is a few that stay kind of earthbound a little bit,
Oh, really?
um,
Okay.
and it's part of their contract.
Okay.
Not for a long time, long time. They don't. We
There's no
have this is
time. Yeah.
yeah, this is linear speaking,
Yeah.
but they do. They
Okay.
do, you know.
Are there places where their energy gathers, like spirit trails or haunting zones? I guess that's like earthbound spirits they're talking
Yeah,
about.
I mean, he's not showing like a whole zone, but like when people gather, this is interesting. He's showing when people gather and do their prayers for them,
Yeah.
or they're doing like they're all getting together to do like healings for the
Hmm.
families,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Okay.
They're definitely around.
Okay.
Yes, they're actually a part of that,
Okay.
helping the
Just
energy.
just two more questions. What role does addiction, trauma, or generational abuse play in making certain individuals spiritually vulnerable to being taken? I bet it's a big role.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge, huge. Because there are so many of these cases. They're different stories. Each person has their own unique story, Eric's saying, and he's showing like a lot of it is addiction and abuse that's connected to it.
Okay.
He shows too that there are non-native people that
Okay.
have a big involvement with this, bringing drugs in, and also abduction, like taking women. Again, that goes back to trafficking, and not even just that, just taking like individuals, like kidnapping,
Right.
taking advantage of, because they
Right.
know they can get away with it, you know, because of the way the laws are, the way
They're
the
unprotected.
complex, yeah, it's a
Law
complex legal,
enforcement.
yeah,
Yeah. Law
yeah.
enforcement, the legal system just does not work in favor of the indigenous people. It really doesn't.
Right, right. They're not as protected as others are,
Yeah. It's a
as a
shame.
non-native. It is. But they are working on this. They're trying to get this, um, to where it's stronger, a
These
lot
people should
stronger.
be revered instead of being racially
Absolutely.
targeted. I mean, I think they're very, very special.
I agree. I
My
agree.
granddaughter has a big affinity for the indigenous people. We were taking her on an RV trip and we went to some reservation and she was invited to go on the stage. She's got this white hair and blue eyes, and she's around all these ceremonial dresses, and she was just smiling, and she
That's
just loved
sweet.
it. She must have
That's
had
so
another
sweet.
life as because
She
she was
has.
so
As soon
connected.
as you said that, yeah, when you started
Yeah.
saying that, it was like Eric's like, yeah, well, she's had more than one
Oh, cool.
tribe. Yes.
Very neat. Are there specific times of the year or moon phases when disappearances are more common? And if so, is there an energetic reason behind that?
I'm hearing yes to this.
Hmm.
Eric says yes. Not all of them, of course, but some. And also, he's showing me stronger portals, like full moon
Oh, the portals
portals.
open up
More,
more,
yep,
stronger, pull more, that
more of
kind
a
of thing.
pull, more of a pull.
Oh, wow.
Yes. But it is again part of it, it's not something that's just uh, by chance. There's a
Okay.
reason. Yeah, it's all contract. But
Okay.
these do make for stronger occurrences of
Yeah.
things. And
Okay.
also with the moon too, the energy can also make stronger for people that are violent, like make that
Oh,
violence feel
yes.
stronger, pulling on the emotions, he
I know
says.
that when I was working in the ER, full moons, oh my gosh, gunshots, knife
Oh, wow.
stabbings, and all
Yeah.
that. It
Yeah.
was way up, and babies being born all the time too. So it
Right.
does
Right.
have an
Very
effect.
active. It
Very.
does. It does. Yes.
Okay, Eric, is there anything else that you want to say about the indigenous people and just the injustice and the murders and the disappearances that they've been subjected to?
So something he's saying is, it's really important for us to have these
Yeah,
happenings on
we
this planet
do
in our
that.
experience because it does and it's not that we're like something you root for, but he's saying like it is part of the human experience.
Yeah,
So just remember to always have understanding and look into it more deep than just the one-sidedness. He
yeah.
says there's always two sides to it, and the spiritual side is very important to look at, he
Okay.
says, for
Okay.
these happenings. And get rid of the fear. Again, fear in these things, not necessary. Don't let it bring fear to you. Um, yeah, he's showing like when we talk about aliens and stuff, because sometimes people get like scared
Yeah, yeah.
from that.
I
So
would. I would not want a little gray to come visit me
yeah,
right now. Go walk through
yeah,
my office door. Mm-mm, no.
right. Something that he says, and I find kind of like this is kind of eerie a little bit, but the reason why they don't have empathy. It's interesting when he
Oh,
shows me
can't
things about
imagine.
grays. They have evolved out of that. They can't procreate. They don't have empathy. They just don't have those
How can
emotions
you
anymore.
evolve out of empathy? Empathy seems to be so evolved.
Well, think
I
about
guess
it. Think
not.
about like, yeah, and they're also an extension of humans. So in another
That's true.
parallel reality
That's
is what
true.
they are.
Wow.
So yeah, so we have to be careful because you can become hard and unfeeling
Yeah.
and start to lose that when
No
you don't need
thanks. That is my
right?
heart.
Yeah,
That is the
yeah,
reason for
right,
being is to have
right,
empathy and love. Oh my gosh.
right,
Can't imagine
right,
being
right.
without it. All right. Well, thank you, Ginger. You
Yeah.
guys check her information is in the description box below. Maybe better check it out soon before she gets super booked up, but she already is, but even more so. So, and
Usually,
also
yeah.
you can subscribe so that you find out about the specials she has. She has them
Yes.
quite frequently, and they're so fair.
Yeah.
And she does a lot of
Yeah.
free stuff too. So really, just
Mhm.
check her out. And Eric, thank you for
Thank
your
you.
help with this interview, and
Yeah.
healing energy to the indigenous people,
Yes.
please.
Yes.
Healing and love.
Lots of love to them. And just love one another. Love one
Right.
another.
Yeah.
Can't say that enough.
All that
So
counts.
important.
All that counts. All there is. Bye,
Yep.
everyone.
Bye.
See ya.